All right, and this is also an issue we want to broach with the chair of the Senate Committee, Honorable Bill Okero, who is with us this morning. Also, allow me to introduce our panelists who are already here. We have Alice Ohome. She is a member of parliament from Kandara. Also, we have with us Dr. Shemo Chodho. Dr. Shemo Chodho is a global leader of Kenya Diaspora Alliance. And we have with us also Honorable Kipruto Arap Kirwa, who is a former agriculture minister. Good morning, gentlemen and lady.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Right, let's begin with you, Senator Bill Okero. First of all, allegations of corruptions, our corruption, I should say, has been, leveled against so many governors, not only Ojamong himself, but he says this is particularly you as a senator, you're particularly intent with these malicious claims as well. Do you level with this particular allegation that, first of all, these are malicious?
I think that claim by the governor for Busia is not unexpected or unusual. I mean, anyone who is accused in any report of either of the public accounts in Parliament often denies. I don't know of anyone in government who accepts that that report is true. But the reality is that the Senate has only, the Public Accounts Committee of Senate has only tabled 10 reports that they have concluded. Out of the 10, 8 of the governors had issues that require investigation that will probably lead to prosecution because they have not been able to account or to satisfactorily explain issues that have been raised by the Auditor General. But in my committee in the Senate, I know that we received over a dozen petitions on various governors with very serious allegations, and many of them that we investigated conclusions, and quite a number of them were that there are clearly breaches of law. There is mismanagement, there is loss of funds, there is misappropriation. There are a lot of things, especially around procurement. And there are recommendations by the Senate of at least, I know, not less than 5 governors for prosecution. And those reports were sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions and also to Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission for further investigation. But to date, unfortunately, these institutions have not acted. For example, Bomet, Machakos, Mandera, Wajir, many. But with specific, recommendations by the Senate for action. So I think there are many, but I think what seems to be happening is that Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the DPP, so they seem to take or either overwhelmed or they simply take quite a bit of time to conclude many of these cases. But the reality remains that there are many cases of mismanagement of public resources in the counties, mainly due to corruption in the procurement area. So I think clearly the governors have not seen the end of this. I'm sure many of the investigations are going on. And even long after the elections, there will be a lot of governors who will probably be many governors who might be indicted for some of the things that are happening today in the counties.
All right. What we don't really understand is the fact that, first of all, what we know is they have been also against the IFMIS, saying that, yes, that is where we have the tripping wire, and that's where, we cannot really put down or actually make sure that we plug all the holes of corruption. In the first place, the ministry has denied that IFMIS is wrong in the first place. So are they using this as a excuse to make sure,
when the government announced e-procurement a couple of years ago, the governors protested and they convinced the government that it's too early to introduce e-procurement because it would limit opportunities for mismanagement in counties. Then the issue now, they started focusing on IFMIS. IFMIS makes it absolutely, there are challenges, of course, with IFMIS. But the reality is that IFMIS is a very important financial management system that really makes it very difficult to manipulate the process of financial reporting, particularly the records, particularly the process of payments and so forth. So what I have seen myself personally, are counties where the governors have compromised officers in the treasury, in the IFMIS, to manipulate the system so that they can bypass. For example, when you want to make a payment, and he's an IT expert, when you want to make a payment, in the system of IFMIS is that from the time the budget has been approved and it's fed into that system, IFMIS, the entire process really is designed in such a way that you cannot, for example, just bring a payment, make a payment to Home if she has not, if you know the whole the procurement planning has not been done, everything is entered into there, the system. But what is happening now is that you can, they have created a system where they can bypass the system through manipulation of IFMIS and create a fictitious payment voucher for Wahome and make a payment directly to Wahome. No service has been delivered, no contract was done, there was no procurement, and she gets paid, and they'll tell you. So there's a lot of attempt by.
So it's not the fact that is actually the IFMIS system itself is foolproof. Let's say from Dr. in the first place, yeah, because the Treasury has said this is a very good system that we should keep. But you can hear from
yes,
Mheshimiwa.
The bell with a light touch. I'm sure Honorable Senator does not mean Mheshimiwa Alice.
Of course.
Yeah, but Mheshimiwa Senator is right. I don't think the problem really is with the IFMIS. A system, particularly a technology system like us, IFMIS is as good as the people who use it. Yeah. Personally, I have to confess I don't have too much information about our particular IFMIS. I don't know how and why it was procured, because I know there are better systems out there. Rwanda, for example, we had our own e-government system developed by Rwandese, and that works pretty well. I think it's also been exported to other Southern African countries. So to that extent, I wouldn't be able to defend IFMIS per se. But I think technology can also aid in corruption, depending on how it's managed. What I think we require is an independent, thorough audit, a forensics audit of this system. Who is playing about with the system? But more importantly is the goodwill. Do we have goodwill to contain graft? This is why I have issues with those who are attempting to kick out the Auditor General.
Right, and of course that will be also our discussion much later. Allow me to introduce to you also Arap Kirwa.
Yes.
Good morning, good to see you.
Yeah, morning.
Morning to you. Yeah, the issue of corruption within the counties, first of all, and what the Senate, and we had that particular story just ran there of Busia governor being embroiled in corruption, which he stoutly denies. But this also epitomizes what really happens within the counties as well. We've heard from Treasury saying that a lot of governors also are stashing away, you know, a colossal sum of money in the banks, and you know, just to make sure that it is accruing interest while services are not being delivered to Wananchi down on the ground. What will be your take, first of all?
First of all, I think the issue of corruption is not only reserved for the counties. It's a national phenomenon that all of us must be able to tackle. Because the national side today, if you ask, say, some of the young people who are your heroes, to name their best 10 heroes, they are likely to name people whose character is anything but straight. This therefore means that the institutions that are charged with the responsibility of fighting corruption should be able to be truly independent and not waiting for any message from any quarter for prosecution or lack of